So the Supreme Court said today that a provision of an Indiana law which said the state may prohibit abortions motivated solely by race, sex, or disability should remain blocked. The court, however, did say it would allow part of the law that requires clinics to bury or cremate fetal remains to take effect. And of course, the fact that the court decided not to even take up the more controversial provision of the Indiana law suggests that there is not a current appetite on the court to move aggressively to question the court's core abortion precedents of Roe versus Wade and KCV Planned Parenthood. That's the immediate opinion from a lot of people reading that and hearing that. But I want to point out that Clarence Thomas actually wrote a 26-page concurring opinion. And I read it, and there's a lot in here, specifically this part. He says, given the potential for abortion to become a tool of eugenic manipulation, the court will soon need to confront the constitutionality of laws like Indiana's. But because further percolation may assist our review of the issue of first impression, I join the court in declining to take up the issue now. So he's basically saying, yes, I did agree to not take up this more controversial part of Indiana's law, but I do think we need to talk about this in the future because of a completely illogical aspect. It's a conservative talking point. That's what you were saying earlier, and it's the truth. Yeah. That there's no evidence of whatsoever. But this is a Supreme Court justice saying this.
Yeah. So when it comes to the burials and the cremations and all the theatrics right. That the right wing again forces upon what are supposed to be free citizens of this country, you think it's a life form? Okay, then you don't get an abortion. We don't think it's a life form, otherwise we wouldn't get an abortion. So if we really thought it was an independent life form, if it was a human, fully formed, then we would be against it. But we don't think that. And 2/3 of the country is on our side. At best, 1/3 of the country is on your side. And the Constitution is on our side and not on your side. But you say, I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn about democracy or the Constitution or what you guys want. My religious views say that you must treat it as a person. So if you have an abortion, I'm going to try to harm you emotionally by making you go through this procedure of burying the non-human or cremating it, etc. People say, oh yeah, well, you got a heartbeat. No, you don't. It's a cardiac rhythm. It's not a fully formed heart. It's 6 weeks or 8 weeks. The Missouri law is 8 weeks. Some of the states are at 6 weeks. And you know what? They're like, well, you know it's human. Really? You know what? At 6 and 8 weeks, you know what the head looks like? Nothing, because there is no head.
Right.
There are no limbs. There are no organs. It's, you know why? Because it's not human. And when it is a human, the state does protect it. And that line is very clear, viability. If you can live outside the womb as an independent human being, then the state has a right. We all care to protect that life form. But otherwise, you're all doing theatrics on behalf of the Sharia law that you happen to believe in.
The Clarence Thomas decision, or that as written, that alludes to something that really should concern us. That as the court slowly changes its character and texture, that this really might be something. I mean, it is the brass ring to actually go after an abortion decision at the Supreme Court level. So I'm quite concerned by what Clarence Thomas has written, because the court does appear, and clearly it's in the agenda of those who are feeding nominations to Trump, that Leopold and that whole Federalist Society crew. I mean, they come from and are informed by strong right-wing religious views. And so I'm quite concerned about Thomas's reference there.
Yeah, I mean, a Supreme Court justice is saying that eventually we need to look into the constitutionality of something that is absolutely 100% made up. That's scary.
Yeah, and look, they packed it with not just conservatives, they packed it with religious fundamentalists. Mm-hmm. So we've got a couple of mullahs on the Supreme Court who are saying, I don't care what you think, I don't care what your religion is, you're gonna follow my religion, okay? And my interpretation of my religion, and that's what Ayatollah Thomas is saying in this case. I'm not interested in your religion, Clarence Thomas. So that's for you and your God. By the way, you should read your own Bible, read Numbers. It's pro-abortion, but you're so ignorant. You never talk in the Supreme Court cases because you don't have anything to say. And you never bother reading anything, including your own Bible. So go look at the Bible, don't get upset at me, get upset at God. God said, if you think your wife cheated on you, give her a toxic potion and she'll miscarry, she'll have an abortion, and that'll be fantastic. Take it up with God, okay? You're not even right about your religion. And because it isn't even about your religion, it's about making sure you control women. And as long as you've got all those men on the Supreme Court, and every one of them that was put on there by a right-wing Republican president is a religious fundamentalist, we're all in a lot of trouble because they don't care about our freedoms. They only care about their Sharia law. On the go? Don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.